Okay, fine. So let's discuss about the architecture of this database. Okay, architecture of this database. How this will work, how database will work. Okay, what are the functionalities of the database, guys? So I told you, right, whenever you are creating a database, okay, whenever you are creating a database, generally two files will be created. Two files will be created. So it's mandatory. You cannot create a database with a single file. Okay, you cannot create a database with a single file. So out of these two files, one is data file and second one is log file, guys. One is data file and second one is log file. So how it will work generally? Okay, so let me go to this what is this draw IO. This is the one. Let's check. B44 is there, B43 is there. Where is our last diagram, guys? We have drawn one. Okay, that is in different. Okay, fine. That is in different account, I guess. Okay, not an issue. Okay, let me rename this. Right, okay. So let me rename batch 46. Fine. So here how it will work, guys. Imagine this is your server. Okay, so this is your server. Right, this is my server. Okay, this is my Windows machine, guys. In this Windows machine, I have a SQL server. This is the SQL server. Okay, imagine this is my SQL server. This is Windows machine. Windows machine. Control B. Windows machine. SQL server. Okay, this is my SQL server. So in this SQL server, of course, I'll have databases. Okay, so this is my database. Imagine this is my database. Right. So as I discussed, database will have two files, guys. Database will have two files. One is data file. Second one is log file. Okay, so for that what we can do, let's use this one instead of this database. Let's use this one, guys. Okay, just for the better clarity. Okay, right, imagine this is my database, guys. This is the round one is the log file and this is the data file. Imagine like this. Okay, so whenever the data is coming from the application, okay, gear symbol. So imagine there is an application. This is my application. Okay, This is the phone pay application. Imagine this is the phone pay application. Okay, so from the application the data will comes, right? So this is how generally data is coming. Imagine data is coming like this. Okay, and then database. So first, always your data will goes to log file, guys. Always your data will go to log file first. Okay, so this is my log file and this is my data file. So what is the use of the log file, guys? Log file will store the data temporarily. Okay, again I'm saying log file will store the data temporarily. Till what time it will store the data? See, there is a mechanism in the SQL Server architecture. Generally, all databases will work like this only. So, what is the main mechanism, guys? So, if you want to call any software as a database software, it has to follow some properties. Those properties are called ACID properties. What are those properties, guys? ACID properties. If you want to call any software as a database software, it should follow ACID properties. ACID means A, atomicity. Okay. C, consistency.
Isolation,
I, isolation. Very good. And D,
durability.
durability. Okay, so it has to follow these four properties, guys. Okay, what are these properties, what it will do, you can read it. We don't want to concentrate much on this. Just I'll give you a brief, very brief idea. So if you want to call any database, if you want to recognize any software as a database software, that software, even Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, any database software has to follow these four properties, guys. Acid properties: atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability, and all. So as per these properties only your database software will work. So the database should be consistent across the whole, like what we can say, across the whole life. The database should be consistent, and before transactions how the database state will be, after transactions also the database should be in the same state, like in the smooth state, in the clean state, I can say. Okay, so here whenever any data is coming from the application, imagine you are doing one transaction, you are sending money to me, you are sending money to me, you are sending 20,000. Imagine you are sending 20,000 money to me. So what is the state of this transaction? The transaction should be fully succeeded or fully failed. There is no partial success, right? Partial success means what? 10,000 rupees will come to my account, 10,000 rupees will be in your account. There is no such kind of success, right? Either it should be fully committed, fully succeeded means all the 20,000 rupees has to come to my account. If the transaction is successful, the whole amount has to come to my account. If the transaction is failed, the amount is reversed, means the transaction will be cancelled. I'll get 0 rupees and your amount will be credited again. In case if you are doing transaction, while doing transaction, sometimes transactions will be failed. Amount will be deducted from your account and it won't reach my account. So if the amount is deducted, it has to adjust in some other account. It has to come to my account. But the in between, if network is down or something happened, if the transaction is dropped, so the dropped transaction will be rollback. What is this rollback? Again it will cancel means you sent you just sent 20,000 rupees to me, so that 20,000 transaction will be cancelled, means rollback will happen. Cancelled or rollback or undo, okay, all are same. So what happened, the 20,000 rupees again will goes to your account. That is the nature of the transactions, guys. Any transaction, that is the nature of the transaction. Either the transaction has to be fully committed or it has to like roll back. Okay, who will do this mechanism, guys? Your log file will play a key role in this mechanism. So log file is a temporary file. Generally, the transaction, what I can say, like if you go to this command, so here if you see, we just inserted some records, right? Insert into table name, phone pay, transactions. Okay, so phone pay transactions, values. Okay, 43847 imagine. Okay, comma, this time we'll go to some other shop like curries and pickles, curries and pickles, imagine curries and pickles, this is one shop name. Okay, and amount is like you just spent 200 rupees there, and then like it's a curries. Okay, for curries you just spent 200 rupees. Okay, close it. So this is called the whole transaction, guys. Okay, so this is called the whole transaction. In this transaction, this is actual data. In this transaction, this is your actual data. So this is the transaction, whole transaction, and this is the actual data. So in the transactions, we have types of transactions: implicit transactions, explicit transactions, guys. Implicit and explicit transactions. So implicit, what is the difference between implicit and explicit, guys? So whenever you're running or you're writing a transaction, generally transaction structure is like this: begin tran, and then at the end you can see one command called commit. Commit any transaction, this is like it is going to run, guys. Sir, without giving these two commands, can I run this? Yes, you can run this. Okay, this is called implicit transaction. So here, even though you give begin tran and commit, or even though you don't give begin tran and commit, both are same. Why? Because if you don't give it, SQL Server database engine will add these two commands while executing the query. If you don't give this transaction, these two commands, no issues. SQL Server database engine itself will give these two commands. Okay, begin tran and commit. What is explicit? You just gave begin tran and you didn't give commit. Begin tran you gave, but you didn't give commit. So if you don't give commit, what will happen? You know, the transaction won't be committed. What is meant by commit? Commit means writing the data from log file to data file. Your data file will be stored in the disk, guys. Okay, you will have your disk, right? Let me draw that as well. Drive. Okay, imagine this is your hard disk. Okay, so this will be there in the Windows machine, right? So whatever data it is there, generally it will write the data permanently to the disk. Okay, it will write the data permanently to the disk. Then only, even though if the laptop is, if the server is down, if the machine is okay having some problems, okay, so as your data is saved permanently in the disk, what is the difference between RAM and storage, guys? RAM is a temporary storage area, okay, whereas disk is a permanent storage area. If you just turn on, if you just restarted your laptop, whatever things are there in the RAM will be gone. You don't find anything in the RAM, guys. But if you restart your laptop, whatever things are stored in your hard disk, again you can get it, right? Correct or not? If I save this file, if I don't save this file, if I just closed it, or if I just or unexpectedly my laptop is restarted, unexpectedly my laptop is restarted, so can I get this data? I did not save it, right? This is not a saved file. Can I get this data again once the laptop is back? Yes or no?
No.
No, I cannot get. Why? Because this is a temporary process. Okay. Once you restarted the laptop, this will be closed. Automatically, it will be closed. Okay. It will ask to save. If you are not saving, automatically it will be closed, guys. So I cannot get this data. But if I save this file, that will be like whenever you want, even though you restarted your laptop, whenever you want, you can happily open the document like this. Okay, so this is the file regularly we are going to refer, right? So this was a permanent file. Why? Because I just saved this file. So even though you just restarted your laptop, whenever you open this file again, you can see. Why? Because this was written to the hard disk permanently. This was written to the hard disk permanently. So if the data is there in the hard disk permanently, then safety will be there. So log file is a kind of RAM, guys. Why we will use log file? Why? Imagine you are inserting 1 lakh transactions. From PhonePe you are inserting 1 lakh transactions. So all 1 lakh transactions cannot write to the data file at a time, right? It will take some time, right? Half an hour or 45 minutes or 1 hour, it will take some time, right? It has to write 1 lakh transactions. So it cannot complete the transactions in a fraction of seconds. It might take some time, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it might take some time. In between, imagine your server is restarted by someone. In between, while writing the transactions to the data file, imagine your server is restarted by someone. What will happen? You lost the data. So it's very common. Server can be restarted at any time. We don't know what will happen in the future. Server can be down at any time. But if you are not saving your data, if you are not storing your data permanently, what is the problem, guys? There is no use of such kind of data. We cannot retrieve the data. We don't see any data. That's why this mechanism is there. So what happened? Whenever you are inserting or whenever the data is coming from the application, first the data, the transactions, you cannot say data, the transaction. What is transaction? This is called a transaction. The whole transaction, first it will goes to log file. Okay, the whole transaction, first it will goes to log file, right? Let me write down here. The whole transaction, first it will goes to log file. Okay, so if the data is committed, if the transaction is committed, you can see this, right? The data, only the data. Okay, this part, only this part, these four values, will goes to the data file, guys. This is actual data. This is actual data. This is called transaction. This transaction information will be stored in the log file. If the transaction is committed, I said, right, commit. What is the use of the commit here? If you commit the transaction, the data like this portion will move to the disk. So if the data is moved to the disk permanently, means safety is there for your transaction. In the last example, if you are running 1 lakh transactions, if you are inserting 1 lakh transactions, you just inserted 99,990 transaction. 10 more transactions are pending, guys. 10 more transactions are pending. In a fraction of seconds, it has to be completed, but suddenly your server is restarted. So what happened once the server came back? All these transactions will be stored in the log file, right? So as per the mechanism, SQL Server will do undo and redo, guys. Undo and redo. Undo means roll back. Redo means roll forward. Okay, redo means reapplying. Roll forward. It will again run. First, it will cancel all the 99,990 transactions. Undo. It will cancel all the transactions. Okay, roll back. First, it will cancel all the transactions, uncommitted transactions, and again it will redo. Again, it will reapply from the beginning, guys. If any uncommitted transactions are there, there are two types of transactions as I discussed: committed and uncommitted. Of course, implicit, explicit in the same way. Committed means it will directly, okay, it will means you are saying, okay, this data can be stored permanently. That is the use of the commit. When you hit the commit, when you run the commit, automatically data will move from log file to data file until you give the commit command. Okay, or until SQL Server gives commit command automatically, the whole transaction will be stored in the log file only. That might be a 1 day, that might be a 2 days, that might be a 1 year also. Got the point, guys? So always, to save this kind from this kind of situation, like to save from the crash situations, okay, we have a log file mechanism. Log file will store the transactions temporarily. Till what time? Till the transaction is committed. What is meant by commit? Commit means the data in the transaction is going to be written to the data file. Once the data is written to the data file, now there is no use of this transaction. This transaction will be deleted from the log file. Got the point, guys? You got the point? Log file is a gate to your home. If anyone wants to come to your home, first they have to open the gate, then only they can enter inside your home, right? In the same way, log file will act as a gate to the database. Everyone first has to enter inside the log file. Once the depends upon the commit and uncommit situations. If it is committed, the data only data part will move to the data file permanently, and once that action is completed, the transactions will be truncated. You can say it as a truncate or delete, same, almost same meaning. The transactions are truncated from the log file. So log file is reusable. If 1 lakh transactions are committed, first it will store all the 1 lakh transactions in the log file. The data is committed, the committed data will goes to the data file. Then all the 1 lakh transactions will like what we can say, all the 1 lakh transactions will be truncated from the log file. Simple words, imagine you are in class, the lecturer is giving some lecture and he is writing something on the board. He is using board. Okay, imagine that board is a log file. So he is writing something on the board. So what you are going to do, you are going to follow him, right? You will write down all the things in your notebook. So notebook is a permanent storage area. Once you are done, what he will do, once the what lecturer will do, he will erase the board, right? Means your notebook is a permanent storage area, whereas your board, your whiteboard is a temporary storage area. Once you are going to write down all the points from your from the board to your notebook, until then the data will be there on the board. Once everyone is written, once everyone is documented, then what the lecturer will do, he is going to erase the data. Again he can reuse the same board, right? Is it clear, everyone? Any questions here? Log file, data file. Guys, yes or no? Maybe.
No.
Sir, how much time it will take, sir, for collecting
Depends
the
upon
data?
the transaction. Depends upon the transaction. If you are having more records, it will take more time to write. If you say, sir, how much time it will take to download the 600 MB file or 1 GB file, depends upon your network speed, depends upon your laptop speed, depends upon your processor speed. How many things are involving here?
Yes, sir.
Right? In the same way, you cannot say if it is one transaction, it will write quickly. If it is 1 lakh transactions, it will take time. If it is 1 crore transactions, it will take more time.
Like, how will we get to know, sir, that the data has been taken from log to data file, sir?
You don't need to worry. Automatically, if the transactions are committed, it will be written to the data file completely. Okay, so how many transactions? For that, you have to use some custom scripts. There is no GUI way of checking how what's happening inside the files. You have to use some custom scripts. Using custom scripts, you can find it how much data is written, how many uncommitted transactions are there. You have to use some custom scripts for that.
Okay, sir.
Someone said no. So any problem here, guys? Is it clear, or let me know in case if you are having any issue here. Simply log file is a temporary storage area. Until the transactions are committed, it will store, the transactions will be stored inside the log file. Once the transactions are fully committed, it will write, the log file will write the data to the data file. Data file means disk. Disk is a permanent storage area. Even though the server is rebooted, you can see all the records once the server is back. Okay, if once the transactions are written to the data file, whatever transactions are there, the committed transactions will be truncated from the log file, so that log file will keep reusing for other transactions, guys, for future transactions. So that's why generally sometimes if you are inserting lot of records, records, bulk inserts, if you are doing bulk records, bulk transactions and all, the log file will grow like anything. Okay, once the data is committed, again log file will shrink automatically. So it's very common. Sometimes you can see log file size is 100 GB, sometimes you can see log file size is 2 GB. It's very common. Log file grow will vary, guys, depends upon the transactions and all. Log file, so log file size will vary. Okay, so this is how generally log file and data file mechanism will work. Any questions, let me know, guys.
No, sir.
Fine, right? We are good, right?
Fails it, the data again roll back.
If it is uncommitted transactions, if it is uncommitted transaction, like I said, right? So sometimes for the testing purpose, developers will wantedly they don't give this commit command. Okay, so if you give commit, where is that? Yeah, here. If you give commit, generally it will be committed. If you don't give commit and begin tran, guys, this and this both are same. Okay, if you don't give begin tran and commit, it is a auto committed transactions. Why? Because SQL Server will add begin tran and commit commands to this transaction. But if you gave only begin tran, you didn't give wantedly, you didn't give commit, then this is an uncommitted transaction. It will be stored in log file only. Until you give commit, you are the developer will give commit. So it will be there in the log file only. Uncommitted transactions generally will be rollbacked. Okay, uncommitted transactions will be rollbacked generally. Any other questions?
So if
So
we have
if the data is permanently saved, it won't be rollbacked, guys. Why? Because the data is written to the disk. Then in case how to roll back it, I don't want that record. How to roll back it? It's not, if committed data is there, committed data won't roll back. Why? Because it was written to the disk permanently. If it is not written to the disk, if it is there in the log file, then only it will roll back. If it is written to the disk permanently, it won't roll back. In that case, if I want to delete the record, how to do that? You have to run delete command. Then the record will be permanently deleted from the table, right? Clear, guys? If you don't want the data, you have to use delete command. Delete from table name, where based on the conditions you can delete, based on the specific range you can delete. So you can delete like that, guys. For that, if you want to delete the data, you have to delete it, guys. Manually you have to delete it. You have to fire another query to delete the records. Yes, please. Fine, right? So let's go inside the data file, guys. How it will be if you go inside the data file, how it will be. So yesterday we discussed, right, the physical hierarchy. Instances, in the instance you will have databases. In the database you will have, can anyone tell me the physical hierarchy? In the databases we will have
File group,
file groups,
file groups. In the file groups we will have
extend,
extend,
Schemas.
files.
extend,
That is logical hierarchy, schemas and all. Okay, in the files we will have extents, in the extents we will have pages. Okay, so generally this is how it will work, guys. So here in the data file, SQL instance, inside SQL instance database inside databases you will have file groups and log files. File groups and log files. Okay, log files doesn't have any file group concept. Okay, inside the file groups we'll have files. Which files? Data files, guys. So there are two types of data files. What are those two types? MDF files, which is master data files. Master data files. Second one is NDF files. Next are new data files. Okay, next are new data files. Inside the data files, two types of files, guys. Whenever you create a database, you will get two files. One is MDF file, .mdf. The file format is .mdf. Second one is LDF file, log file, .ldf. For one database, only one MDF file will be there. I am not saying one data file, one MDF file will be there. This is a primary data file, primary data file. If this, yesterday we discussed, right, if the data file is full, then we can add one more data file. Then subsequent data files can be NDF file, second NDF file, third NDF file, fourth NDF file, fifth NDF file. Like that, how many files we can add to the database, guys? How many files we can add?
32767.
7. Right, okay.
3277.
So only while creating the database, you will get a database with MDF and LDF files, guys. Okay, so once this MDF is full, you can add extra data file called, that is NDF file. NDF, next are new data file. Okay, so data file, forget about the log file as of now. Okay, in the data files, either MDF file or NDF file, So in the data files, we will have extents, guys. Extent means what? I'll tell you. Before extent, let's go to the page. Page. In the extents, we'll have pages, guys. Page is a basic storage area in the data file. Basic storage area, or yeah, basic storage area only, not basic allocation. Page is a basic storage area in the data file. Okay, basic storage area. Whenever you are creating a table, we just created phone pay transactions, we just created that student tables, all these tables at the end of the day, where they are going to be stored, guys? On the pages. Okay, when you create a table, it will be created physically. This table will be existed in the page, guys. Page size is 8 KB. This is fixed, guys. We cannot change this page size. So whenever you are creating a table, SQL server will allocate an 8 KB page for you, so you can utilize that 8 KB page. If that 8 KB page is full, then SQL server will automatically allocate one more 8 KB page. If that is also full, like you are inserting 100 records, 8 KB page is full. Now you have to insert, you want to insert 100 more records. There is no space. SQL server will automatically give one more page in the data file. So it's, if your data is growing, if you are inserting more records, SQL server will keep on adding 8 KB page, 8 KB page, 8 KB page, like the chunks part you are going to get it. So all your data will be stored at the end of the day. It will be stored on a page, guys. Your tables will be created on the pages. Data pages, you will say generally. Data files, under data files, pages will be there. So data pages. Is it clear? So, sir, can I change the page size 8 KB to 800 KB? Why, sir, 88888 KB? I don't like it. No, you cannot change it. That is fixed size. You cannot change the size of the page. That is fixed size. If you like it, if you don't like it, you have to use it. You cannot see all these things, guys. Internally, it will happen. Sir, I want to see how page is allocating. No, we cannot see that one. Okay, so logically it will happen, guys. So that's why this is like a it's a basic page, it's a basic storage area where the tables are going to be stored on a single page. On a single page, only one table you can create. Okay, even the table is small, so small, only one table you can create. Means page is not shareable. Page is not shareable. You cannot share page. For example, I am giving a small table, sir. So I just, out of this 8 KB, 8 KB means how many bytes, guys? Here you have to know these things. So how many bytes is equal to 1 KB?
1024.
1024? Okay. So 8 bits is 1
KB.
1 byte.
Bye.
1024 bytes is equal to 1 KB, kilobytes. 1024 kilobytes, KB, is equal to 1
MB.
MB. 1024 MB, from here you know, right? 1 GB. 1024 GB is equal to 1 TB, terabytes. 1024 TB is equal to 1 PB, petabytes. 1024 PB is equal to 1 HB, hexabytes, like that, octabytes, petabytes. Okay, so hardly we'll use up to terabyte storage only. We don't use petabyte storage and all. Okay, so you should know these things. So 8 KB means what? 8 into 1024. Okay, 8 into 1024. How much? 8124, I guess. 8 into 1024 bytes, right? Calculate 8 into 1024. 8 into 1024. 8192 bytes. Okay, is equal to 8192 bytes. So even though you are creating very small table with 100 bytes, you are using only 100 bytes, 8 out of this 8192 bytes. So still you are having 8000 bytes free space is there, but you cannot use that free space to create one more table. Means once the table is created on one page, that page is not shareable with another table. Means in a page on a page only one table you can create. If that table is big, if the page is not sufficient, then SQL Server will give one more page. If there is a free space in the page, chalo there is a free space, off of the free space is there in the table, so I'll create one more table. No, page is not shareable between the objects. Page is not shareable between the tables, guys. One page, one table, one page, guys. If that one page is not sufficient, SQL Server will automatically add one more page. How it will add automatically? As you enable the auto growth, so it will keep adding, keep adding, keep adding, that automatically it will add the pages, guys. If that page is not sufficient, it will add one more 8 KB page. Okay, fine. So extent means collection of 8 continuous data pages. Collection of 8 continuous data pages. Data pages only. Collection of 8 continuous data pages is called one extent, guys. Extent, you can say basic allocation unit. Page is basic storage unit. Extent is basic allocation unit, guys. Extent is basic allocation unit. Okay, so what is this basic allocation unit? So what is the size of the extent? Can you tell me, guys, now? Size of the extent. Can anyone tell
8
me
KB.
size of? Again 8 KB, yeah? Then what is the difference between page and extent?
64 KB.
64.
64.
64
8,
KB.
8 pages. Extent means 8 continuous data pages. One extent means 8 continuous data page. Each page size is 8 KB. 8 pages means 8 into 8, 64 KB. Extent size is 64 KB. Okay. So sir, what is this allocation unit then? So SQL Server will allocate extents. There are different types of extents: mixed extent and uniform extent. Mixed extents and uniform extents, guys. What is this uniform extent? What is this mixed extent? Okay, so uniform extent means all the 8 pages belongs to the same table, belongs to the same object, either table or index, anything, same object. Mixed extent means all the 8 pages belongs to different, reverse, all the 8 pages belongs to different 8 objects, or 8 different objects, you can say. Let me explain you, nothing to worry. So let me show you this as well. Right, if you see here in this diagram, this is mixed extent and this is uniform extent, right? If you see uniform extent, see here, table 1, 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 table 1. Means, for example, you are creating an employee table. You will keep adding the records, right, to the employee table and all. So as I said, if you see here, these are 8 pages. This is 1 page, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8 pages. All the 8 pages belongs to a single object. Okay, so on all these 8 pages only one table is stored. That is called a uniform extent. Mixed extent, if you see here, mixed extent, in this page table 2 stored, in this page index 1 is stored, in this page index 2, table 2, table 3, index 3, table 2, table 3. So each page is storing different objects. Each page is storing different objects, guys. You cannot share the page, but you can share the extent. Got the point? Extents are shareable. Extents are shareable, guys. But page is not shareable. On a page you can create only one table, but in the extents 8 pages will be there, right? Out of 8 pages You can allocate all 8 pages to a single object, or you can allocate all 8 pages to multiple objects. If you allocate all, you means not you, SQL Server will allocate. If SQL Server allocates all 8 pages to multiple objects, means that is mixed extent. If SQL Server allocates all 8 pages to a single object, means that is uniform extent. That's why you can see table 1, table 1, table 1, table 1, table 1 here, and you can see table 2, table 3, table 2, table 3, index 1, index 2, index 3, like that. Different objects are stored in each page of the mixed extent. So whenever you are creating a new table, can anyone tell me which extent SQL Server will allocate for you? Is it a mixed extent or uniform extent?
Uniform extent.
Uniform extent.
Uniform extent.
According to the size.
Directly it will allocate uniform extent.
Mixed extent.
So initially it will allocate a page from the mixed extent. Why? Because you don't know the size of the table. SQL Server don't know the size of the table. If it allocates uniform extents directly, instead of 8 KB, you are getting 64 KB, means you are wasting the storage, right? Agree? Agree or not? Instead of 8 rupees, you are wasting 64 rupees. 8 times you are wasting.
Yes, sir.
So to avoid this wastage of the storage, SQL Server is very intelligent, guys. First, it will give you an 8 KB page from the mixed extent. If it feels that table is growing, subsequent allocations will be uniform extents. If the table is not growing, you will waste only 8 KB page. If the table is growing, SQL Server will automatically allocate an uniform extents. Subsequent allocations will be uniform extent. Once that 64 KB extent is full, then it will allocate one more 64 KB, one more 64 KB, like that. It will keep growing. So every time it will allocate. In case if the data is growing, if you are inserting lot of data, it will keep on adding 64 KB, 64 KB, 64 KB extent. Like in the examination hall, we'll write the exams, right? So if it is theory exams, first you will get the booklet, right? Next time you won't get the booklet. Next time you will get a single page you will get it. Why? Because to avoid the wastage of the booklets. So in the examination, everyone needs lot of pages to write all the data, to write the answers and all. So they will directly allocate a booklet for you. But next time you will get only one page, single page. Whenever you are asking, he will give single page. He don't give booklet. Why? Because to avoid the wastage of the pages, guys. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, guys? Yes, no, maybe.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Clear.
Okay, so this is how generally data file will work, guys. Okay, this is enough. Okay, no need to go beyond this. So in the law, yes, please.
What is that index?
Index, forget about it. See, if I am not discussing those points, that can be discussed later. What is this index, what it will do, how to create index at the end of the classes, performance tuning, I'll discuss. At this moment, you cannot understand what is this index and all. Okay. Yeah. Clear, guys? Any questions, any doubts here? Take a break for 15 minutes. Come back at 8:40. Okay, now 6 plus 10, 16. Come back at 8:40, guys. We'll discuss other things. Okay. Right. I'll be back at 8:40.